Hey guys, happy Monday. What a time to be alive, right? Unbelievable. Anyway, do not freak out. The chair is here, I'm here, the dean is here. We're all supporting you as much as we can, and it'll be fine. We'll figure it out, okay? Stay positive, and I'm sure we'll find a way not only to survive, but also to thrive, right? So today, just a little bit of information about what's coming next in general, and then we'll go specifically to our stuff, right? So for our class, it's online, and everything will be as scheduled to be, planned to be. The deadlines are the deadlines. We'll move forward with that, and we'll be fine. Uh, if you have any questions or concerns or whatever, just let me know, right? And I'm always on my laptop or through my phone or through anything. I will be available, even more available now. So just let me know and we'll figure it out. From the week before spring break, uh, I checked a low 11. I checked a low 11, nothing for me to mention. Pretty good. Everybody's doing very well. I'm very satisfied. Hopefully, you saw your midterms as well, right? As you were going through your break. For this week, chapter 12, another chapter about sport and exercise psych, and we have a low 12 due for this week. I will go ahead and start talking about chapter 12, which is facilitating health behavior change. And yeah, I'll try to keep it short. I'll try to keep it short. All right, so we care about theory-based intervention, as we said in chapter 11, right? But then we need to take those theory-based interventions and then uh, tailor them to the individual we're training. So for us, it is important to help them adopt an exercise program, but also adhere, even more importantly sometimes, to adhere to that exercise program. Now, we say, especially the 3 CSM exercise, medicine exercise, medicine, trying to emphasize how important is exercise. However, most Americans do not meet the minimum requirements of physical activity, right? And some of them want to, but don't know how to do it. And then also it comes into play behavior. They don't know how to self-regulate their behavior. So normalcy is great, is safe, and people like being safe, and feeling comfortable. So if they cannot monitor or change that behavior, then we need to find those clients because they are at risk at just staying at that comfortable stage in order to help them get out of that and do what they need to do concerning their physical activity, right? And keep them outside that comfortable zone, comfort zone. All right. So we always should use evidence-based practice to facilitate behavior change in our clients. And how can we do that? One thing we can do is self-monitoring. And as our book says, specifically, word by word, is paying attention on purpose. All right. And it has been very successful. Self-monitoring has been very successful with, for example, weight management. Key features: self-monitoring. We need to be intentional when we're doing something like that. Provide or get immediate feedback when we're doing that monitoring. We need to have to do self-monitoring easy. And now it is, phones or watches. Goals should include behavioral goals as well, because that's what's something that adds and keeps that person motivated to keep doing what they're doing. And be consistent with that monitoring. You can't just do it for 1 week and then forget about it. Even if you're just monitoring your sleep, you have to be consistent. We have perceived advantages that are important, perceived barriers for the client and facilitators, and consequences that we have to take into consideration, and there are nice examples in our book. Now, physical activity monitors, very, very popular pedometers. What they're measuring are steps, okay? They're good for physical activity, they're good for exercise, right? And they're good, they can be very useful to limit sitting time. There are specific guidelines for adults, but also using pedometers and how many steps per day, but also for children and older adults. Usually, if we assess, monitor for 3 days, it's enough to do an assessment of what's our base, and then based on that to prescribe exercise for what's coming next. Fitbit is very popular, as you know, and pretty valid. But in general, we should be careful because a lot of pedometers overcalculate to make us feel good about it. Another thing we can use for self-monitoring or in general for monitoring PA is RP. Okay, we talked about the rate of perceived exertion. Goal setting. Is goal setting important? Of course it is. And in other courses that I'm doing, lower level courses, of course, I make them write their SMART goals that they have, or they would have, or they should have, and so on and so forth. You know the acronym SMART. It's in our book. You should know that by now. But we need to understand the goal of the client, and it can be very effective for adherence, right? Always need to have a goal. Why? Because it directs the effort and the attention from something else. All right. It shouldn't be too vague, too complex, or too challenging, too difficult. And we also try to monitor and reevaluate how well we're doing what we were supposed to do or not. All right. Drop my pencil. Keep going. All right. Social support. That's another thing. And have four primary types. We have the instrumental. Let's say I'm making meals for somebody, prepping meals. That would be amazing, right? That would be helpful. Emotional, have empathy, calling somebody, checking, hey man, I know you're in the diet, how's it going? I understand, I was like that and that, just showing empathy is important. Informational, which is the main reason they come to us. The information, the tips, what should I do? What should I do? I want to do. What should I do though? How many times? How many reps? And then companionship, feeling or being a part of a group. That's pretty important. All these four different types do not have to come from the same person per se. They can come from different sources. Okay. Now, as our book says, that support, perception of social support sometimes is as important or even more important than the actual support. How I feel I'm being supported. Self-control. Self-control, which is challenging. The challenge right nowadays. Can we be? Do we have enough self-control to stay at home and do what they tell us to do? Anyway, that was a side note. It is the ability to override one response over another response. So I'm not eating that cupcake because I have that specific goal. I don't have the self-control to do that. Well, the issue here is that it's based on willpower, and willpower is a limited source. For example, if I have 5 goals, I have to spread my willpower into 5 goals. It makes it harder to achieve all of them, for example. Emotional regulation, very important, a type of or form of self-control. We know that emotions affect motivation, which affect effort and choice. So us as exercise physiologists, we should take into advantage the feelings of our clients, or the feelings that whatever we prescribe produce to our clients. And if they feeling this way or the other way today before working out, we should take that into account. If using the treadmill produces negative feelings, but if they could use the elliptical or the rower, it's positive, well, why not use that, right? Communication, very important, 2 parts. Somebody is sending a message and someone else is receiving the message. Both parts are important. and the way the message is coded from me to come to you, for example, right now, right? And also, as you see, it's not only about verbal communication. I'm moving my hands, you see me, that's why it is video, because non-verbal communication is equally, if not more important. We usually say that 60% of communication, at least, is non-verbal. Okay. So listening is also crucial from our part. We have to let them talk, especially active listening, and you can see what active listening is in our book. It's a specific type of listening that you rephrase, you nod your head, you're engaged, and so on and so forth. Motivational interviewing, MI. Person-centered, facilitates autonomy from the client side, and strengthens motivation for change. The client takes the lead, and the way we do this interviewing helps the client identify the obstacles and ambivalence and take advantage of that, exploit it. It's really, really interesting. 4 main principles: empathy. Try to really understand you, not just sympathy, empathy. Just really understand how you feel through this. Discrepancies. It will help the conversation. The conversation helps the client identify where they are and where they want to go, the difference between these two. And that has to do with behavior, which means where you are, what are you doing? And you are where you are. Oh, okay. And then you want to go to point B. Okay, if you want to go from point A to point B, how would you change your behavior? So you see the difference in your behavior as well, right? You can do the same thing and have different results. Resistance, we need to be patient. We have to offer alternatives. A lot of people resist, and even if we don't get it as professionals, we need to be very, very patient and try to use it in a way as much as we can. And support self-efficacy, we need to empower people, right? Not talk down on them. We need to make them understand that they can do more and help them do more, and we need to make them feel confident. We talked about confidence, right? And self-efficacy. We need to try to push their levels up high. Alright, so some threats to exercise behavior. We have barriers to physical activity, and the most common, right? Time. I don't have time. I don't have the money to do it, or I don't have the motivation / energy to do it. Classic. We need to find alternatives for all these. Environmental barriers. Snowing, really cold outside. Like again here in Plattsburgh, 30-something degrees. I think it's supposed to snow today. There's no facilities. Okay. Or there are no safety is not a major issue. Like if I don't feel safe to walk my dog around my house at night, I just walk here for 1 minute instead of 30 minutes, even if I wanted to, And body-related barriers. Some people have anxiety concerning their body type and how it looks like, or how they think people look at them. So they don't want to put it on display. Okay. But self-presentation is important because it affects the motivation, it affects the choice of activities. I don't want to do that because people will see me. I don't want to do it there because people will see me. And also the quality of the performance and the reaction, the emotions they have towards that. So if we have body-related barriers, we should adjust prescription accordingly. For example, we don't have to go upstairs where it's crowded if that person is. Let's go somewhere which is more quiet, and maybe it doesn't even have too many mirrors. Okay, something to make them feel better, so they can perform better and they can keep coming. Environments, exercise environments, could affect, as I said, physical anxiety. We need to make sure the client feels safe and comfortable and not intimidated, definitely. Now, access and options for physical activity. The more access I have, the higher the probability of me actually meeting the physical activity guidelines, as you understand. But as an exercise professional, you should assess their perceptions as well about access. All right, outcome expectations. Of course, outcome expectations are linked to exercise behavior. You have to identify which are those expectations and if they're important to them. And then we have lapse and relapse. We usually say if you keep doing something for 6 months, then you have a new habit, right? It's established. You have changed your behavior. How can I prevent relapse, which is pretty much trying to avoid return to not desired behavior, whatever I was doing before, a habit that's unhealthy, eating Doritos. It's a stupid example, but you get the idea. So you must have a plan. So for example, I know I go for spring break for a week, right? I know I'm not going to work out. My trainer knows that. My exercise physiologist knows that. We know that. We push before we go. We make it as part of a plan. And then when they come back, like, okay, now we're starting with this. Yes, for spring break, you're going to eat, you're going to not exercise, you're going to do something. It's part of the plan. When it's programmed, when it's planned, everything is easier. So you cannot not exercise. You can eat whatever you like if you have to. You're living for Christmas, you go for a wedding. So we understand that. We make it part of a plan, and we have already a reaction plan in place. They know it, they expect it. And if something happens that's unexpected, we'll always tell them, things will happen. We're all human. We'll do our best. Don't beat yourself up. You did something, you ate last night, half of a cake. Cool. This morning, get back into it. Let's go. We don't have time to cry over this. It happened. All right. Let's move. Let's go. That's all for now. Make sure you understand how we can use all these theories to take people outside comfort zones, bad comfort zones, and try to maintain them there. We need always to be able to customize all these tools that we talked about today. Yeah, that's pretty much from me. Hopefully, things are not going to get too worse with the virus. I'll be here for whatever you like, and I'll be available. As I said, the deadlines and everything for us stay the same, so don't worry about it. The same things every week. I probably won't be wearing a tie. Just try to keep it a little more informal. But that's pretty much it. We're gonna get our daily, weekly videos, and we'll be fine. All right. Let me know if you need anything, and lift intentionally, not habitually, even if you have to do it at home now. Bye, guys.